And then out of that, we were asked if we would go to Australia, to Mowanjum. And that was a wonderful time of really trying to take uh, the Fifth City methods and try them out in a different place.
Where was Mowanjum?
Mowanjum is outside of Derby in the western end of Australia. And they were wonderful Aboriginal people who were struggling to be a people and to retain their heritage and at the same time be a part of the 20th century.
And how long were you all there?
We were there 2 years. And
What'd you do?
well, for one, we did a consult with the community, and we set up guilds. We had agricultural guild, we had a cattle guild, we had a guild that washed the uniforms for the local market where they kill animals, slaughterhouse. And they began to be self-sufficient. We took 5,000 cattle at David White, and that bunch moved from a cattle station that was going to go to cattle. They had been a sheep station, and they didn't want to shoot all those sheep because it would cost them so much money. So they said, if you'll come get them, we'll give them to you. So for the next 2 years, we ate a lot of sheep. Had a common kitchen with the Aboriginal people. Wonderful people, David Muljalli and Sam Umbagai and Turkai. And from there, they sent the first full-blood Aboriginal nursing sisters to be trained in Australia. And out of that effort, they got back their original lands in Pannerdown. And it was a marvelous experience. And the Australians, the bishops, the Barkers, I'll leave somebody out, Dowsett, Bob Shropshire came over from the U.S. and worked there, and a lot of folks made just tremendous contributions to that work, and we learned a lot.
Like?
Well, we learned a lot about consult and about working with local people and about working with the government and the other agencies there to build a project. And also we learned a lot about trusting the local people and the greatness of local
Okay,
people.
do you remember any stories about this trusting the local people that come to mind from that?
Well, they knew how to do so much that they hadn't been allowed to use. They knew how to do cattle. Of course, in that part of the world, they were hired as the cattle workers. But they had been told by the group that had that project that they weren't to do anything with their cattle because they were leaving and the cattle experts weren't there. And so when we came in, they resumed and made quite a bit of money selling their cattle to the local slaughterhouse. And then, of course, they had all the sheep. But they knew how to do agriculture. They knew so many things, and they knew how to do them if they were released to do them and not told that they were not to do this or not to do that. And also, their culture had been really kind of stepped on, and they had a church there, a chapel on the thing, and we got them to paint. They were great cave painting, and this was the way that they talked about their life. And so they painted their life on the walls of that church. And Albert Baranga, who was one of the head men there, used to love to take tourists through there. And he knew that a lot of people had very low opinions of the intelligence of Aboriginals, and he would say, you know English, but do you know how to read this? And he would show them all the drawings there, and they would look and say, oh, that's beautiful. And he said, now can you tell me about it? And of course they couldn't, but he could. And he would point out the symbols and what they meant and everything, and everybody would be very excited about that. But it was a great opening experience to the world that we had never had, and a deep bonding with local people and with our Australian counterparts. It was just a grand experience.
Other highlights?
From Mowanjum?
No, beyond.
Oh. Well,